So it's probably safe to say Drew Rosenhaus would tell Baylor's Shock Linwood to participate in the Motel 6 Cactus Bowl, but that is not going to be the case, as the senior running back is the latest player to announce he's skipping his team's bowl game to focus on his NFL future. And this brings up another interesting layer to this debate, guys. Both Fournette and McCaffrey are projected to be first and early second-round picks. But according to our Todd McShay, Linwood is a late rounder. So ultimately, Trevor, is it a smart decision for him to sit out if he's not a top pick?
It's a ridiculously dumb decision for him to sit out because he's Shock Linwood. Has not much to do with where he might be picked. Here's the problem. When you're hurt, there's reasons to sit out. But if you are a person whose own coach suspended you for what the coach called attitude issues, there's every reason to play. You do not want to give NFL scouts an opportunity to say that you are cementing your lack of love for the game and your lack of commitment to your team. Because believe me, Jim Grubb will be talking to those scouts, and he will tell them the truth.
Yeah, and I even heard Trevor even more about it was possibly him shoving a coach or getting physical with a GA, and that's even more disgraceful if that did really happen. But listen, I don't like it. Period. I don't like it for Christian McCaffrey, who is healthy, but I get it for when you want to talk about Leonard Fournette. He hasn't been healthy all season long. He's had the high ankle sprain. Trevor, I know you've dealt with that before. We've all dealt with ankle sprains and how they can just linger and linger and linger and linger. I get it. But listen, nothing in my mind or my heart ever told me not to play in my bowl game. Everything about playing with my teammates was something that I was going to pursue and enjoy, with being a first-round pick on the horizon. I knew I was going to be a first-round pick. It didn't enter the thought process. I don't like this stuff. I know it's going to be a trend because kids don't really have original thoughts really that much anymore, so you're going to see more of this, but I don't like seeing it.
Davey, I think that most scouts think like you think. Because most scouts, I think, have an old school perspective on it. And that is, they don't want to draft a guy who's a coddled superstar, who loves the trappings and the benefits of the game, but doesn't love the grind of the game. And what you're doing by not playing in that last game is giving scouts an opportunity to say that about you. So I don't think there's a blanket right or wrong here for everybody in college football. I think Leonard Fournette is right because of his unique circumstances. I think Linwood is completely wrong. Myles Garrett of Texas A&M, he's going to play in the bowl game. But a reason for it is that he might end up being the #1 pick in the draft, since there are no quarterbacks that will probably be there. So he has a reason beyond just whether or not he stays healthy, beyond just what he shows the scouts, to cement himself as one of the greatest positions of all time, #1 in the draft. It's unique for each individual.
I mean, some people may say that he's deciding not to participate in the bowl game to kind of get his name out there more for his draft stock. But ultimately, does this highlight his behavioral issues more?
I think it absolutely does. And if he's on record as saying that that's his rationale, then if I'm a scout, I look at him and say he doesn't have the ability to think rationally. That makes no sense at all. And as a matter of fact, no matter what your reason for not playing with your team in that last moment is, you have got to sell the scouts that it is a compelling, good reason. And so that your name is out there more, that makes no sense at all. That's what makes perfect sense for this situation, I guess.
Yeah, with Todd McShay last night, we were doing the halftime of a bowl game, and his quote was, Who set out? Shock Linwood? He's like, he's a third-day guy at best or an undrafted free agent. And I just can't imagine that this is going to help his chances to climb higher in the draft. But, he did it. He got the shock value, if that's what you want, Cassidy.
I mean, yeah, look at you. I see what you did there. But, I mean, it's not that funny, David.
I'm glad you picked up on it.
It's not that funny, though. It's not that funny. No, but look, as you mentioned, David, the question is, does this become a trend? Does this open the floodgates? And University of Miami head coach Mark Richt sure hopes it doesn't, saying he doesn't like players skipping bowls one bit.
I think football is the greatest team sport there is, and I think until the season's over, you should be with your team. I mean, really and truly, you could take out whether I want a guy to stay to help us win and all that. I mean, football's it's the greatest game, and it's the greatest game because it's a team game.
So Rick's Hurricanes they're preparing to meet West Virginia in the Russell Athletic Bowl, and to our knowledge, none of his players are sitting out. But should coaches, I ask you this, should they have a say whether players can sit out if they are leaving for the NFL or not?
Well, coaches have a say in everything that goes on, first of all. I mean, coaches control these kids' careers as it is anyway. They decide how much they play up until this point and to the bowl game. So they always have a say in the career regardless. Does Coach Rick have a say